everyone, welcome back. It's Moe, aka Swedish Whiskey Girl, and today I'm here with a whiskey from the Lakes Distillery, and this is the Whiskymakers Reserve number 3. So they do these in different editions. They've done number 1, number 2, and this is number 3, and they'll probably continue like that. And this is a whiskey. I have a little sample here. It says 54% ABV, and it's natural colour and non-chill filtered. I think it sits at 65 pounds-ish, and it contains whiskies that have been matured in a variety of casks, so both Petrohemna sherry, cream sherry, oloroso and red wine. And the whiskey maker at Lakes, Dhaval Gandhi, he makes 2 different new mix, one that's a little bit lighter and one that's a little bit heavier, and then he either mixes them together or uses them separately, just to kind of be able to create different characters of the whiskey. So he wants to create really nice flavours, and he also wants a lot of the cask influence, which is something that's a little bit different to other distilleries, because a lot of people focus on their spirit being a specific way and the cask will enhance it, but you don't want too much cask influence. But I get the kind of impression that Dhaval doesn't think like that. He doesn't mind if the cask gives you a lot of character because it's nice character, if that makes sense. I would highly recommend to listen to one of his chats or one of the interviews with him. He has a very interesting approach to whiskey, so if you're curious about how he thinks and works, then check that out. But yeah, let's have a little look on the nose. Very elegant sherry nose. It's not like a sherry punch in the face, but the sherry is very much there, but it's almost a bit more orangey, and when I say elegant, I mean that it's quite well balanced, and it sits back a little bit, not in a way that it's very hard to pick out, or how to describe that? It's just, yeah, it sits back a little bit and kind of, it doesn't need to show off straight away. It's just, yeah, quite pleasant to kind of discover it that way. Yeah, I would say quite orangey, because I think you can have sherry going in a few different directions. Some are quite heavy on like the raisin notes, and some are more dried fruits or cherries or plums and darker fruits, and this one for me is definitely more towards that kind of sweet citrus like oranges. A little bit of toffee. A pleasant woodiness. It's not overpowering, but it's there underneath. And there's a touch of sweetness, but I wouldn't say it's a raisin sweetness straight away. So maybe something fairly thick, so maybe like honey. Well, let's have a little taste. Sláinte Skål. You can definitely tell that it's sitting at higher strength. I would say quite orangey on the palate as well. Very pleasant. There's still quite elegant sherry notes. It's I mean, it might be because I know that it's a combination of sherry casks, but I think it kind of has to, it's not as dry as it probably would have been if it was just Oloroso, and it's not as sweet as it would have been if it's only PX. And then of course I have the cream sherry. So I think it's an interesting combination, and the red wine coming in as well, that I think works together. And I think if you're someone who really likes the sherry influence, but you don't necessarily want a sherry bomb, you just kind of want something that tastes like sherry, but is quite, oh, I can't find my words today. Yes, it's a nice level to just sit and sip instead of being, it's quite easy drinking. It's just kind of enjoyable flavors to sit in and enjoy instead of it being difficult to approach or quite punchy. I am going to try with a few drops of water and see what it's like, but it's yeah, I think where it sits is just quite enjoyable and quite smooth, but not, the alcohol still burns a little bit, I would say, so I am going to add some water, but I think, yeah, I don't know, what am I trying to say? I think it's very enjoyable, quite kind of not too much, not too little, but I think if you are someone who's looking for a sherry bomb, this might be a too tuned down for you perhaps, and if you're someone who wants something super smooth, this might be slightly too much flavour, if that makes sense. But if you just want something that sits in between, a nice sipping whiskey, a nice whiskey maybe now that it's autumn and winter when sherry flavours kind of suit the weather, then yeah, it's a nice one just to sit and sip. And I mean, the flavours to me go really well together, and like I said, you have the balance of these different casks coming together and just creating a unity, because I don't feel like it tastes that separate. Everything kind of comes together. Has a bit of a drying sensation. It's the woodiness and kind of the spice coming together. And it's kind of like Christmas spices coming out. A bit orangey, almost kind of raspberry note as well. Yeah, very interesting flavour combination. But let's add some water and see what we think after that. Here we go. More citrusy, I would say now. It's almost like it's a little bit of lemon and not just orange. Yeah, more yellow in a way. Maybe a little bit more kind of that zestiness. Yeah, a bit more like lemon candies. Yeah, to me it just tastes a bit more yellow, like it's the lemon kind of sherbet hard candies, and the spice is toned down, it doesn't feel as burny anymore. Yeah, There's still sweetness, there's still oak, there's still spice, but the spice is less dry. And yeah, it's just a bit more yellow and lemony and a little bit citrusy. Whereas the kind of orangey sherry note has kind of been a bit, turned down the volume a bit. I mean, I didn't mind this before, even though it was a slight burn, but it's, yeah, I think it sits really well with the water right here. I would of course love to hear your thoughts. Have you tried any of the Whiskymakers reserves? Did you have a favourite if you've tried all three? Or what did you think of this one if you've had the chance to try it? Please let me know in the comments here below. And of course, if you like what I'm doing here on YouTube and my other social channels, I'd be absolutely over the moon if you consider using my affiliate links the next time you're shopping with either Master Malt, the Whisky Exchange, or the Scotch Malt Whisky Society. All those links are in the little section here below, as well as links to my website, my Teespring shop, my Patreon, and my Instagram if you're curious about that. As always, a massive thank you to my wonderful supporters on Patreon for continuing to support me. I'm so grateful I have you guys. I hope you've all had an absolutely wonderful day. Sláinte Skål.